Are you learning and understanding what your numbers are in your business, or do you even know what numbers you need to be looking at when people say that? Hi there, I'm Scott Mulchin with the Million Dollar Landscaper, and today we are going to be talking about understanding your numbers and why it's so important. And we'll get into a few of the key numbers that you need to start looking at and really understanding. Now, before I dive into that, I want to make sure you guys are grabbing our free guide to planning your 2022 landscaping season I'll pull it up on the screen here. Um, there it is at milliondollarlandscaper.com/2022 guide. Now, this guide is going to help you not only look at, obviously what you want to plan in the future, but we're going to look at some of the stuff in the past. And if you have been watching our past videos, we started talking about some of the things you need to look in the past and how they're going to be so important to looking into the future. So go back, if you haven't watched those videos, go back on the Facebook and YouTube. It's all over everywhere. Grab those and start watching those. All right. So today we wanted to dive into understanding some of your numbers. So why do we need to look at our numbers and what freaking numbers do we need to look at? So when I say and hear people say we need to understand our numbers, some of the numbers that we need to start looking at are, sorry, our cat is knocking down things. Some of the numbers that we really need to start looking at and diving into is understanding what our true costs of our employees are. And, maybe thinking, well, I know their wages and stuff like that, but there's more to it than just your normal wage that you're paying them. So if you're paying them 15 bucks an hour, 20 bucks an hour, 25 bucks an hour, whatever you're paying them, that's not just their wage. There's additional costs that go into that. And that's where it starts getting into your labor burden. And I like to tell people labor burden is basically a taxation on labor. So it's, your FICA, your FUTA, your SUTA. But you can actually go beyond that, and we start looking into, any vacation time, paid time off. If you give them like a shoe allowance or a clothing allowance, anything like that, all that can be added into really the cost of having that employee. And that's some of the numbers, one of the numbers you really need to start looking at and understanding. One of the next numbers you need to really start looking at, and this is something I really see people missing out on and not really charging for, is their their equipment. And I see people, they don't really think about it, or they maybe allocate it, or I've seen people like add a certain percentage or just add a few $100s in and just hope it covers it. And it's so important to really start looking at what the true cost of your equipment is. And this could be breaking it down and looking at, everything and owning that equipment. That could be understanding, what it costs to put that toolbox on there, getting it wrapped, putting stickers on there, adding lights, all those types of things, snow plowing. So it's very important to really start to look at the total cost of owning that equipment. You also have a maintenance on that. You have oil changes, tire changes, the mechanic to whoever's fixing it, whether it's somebody you or you're having somebody hire somebody. These are all the costs that go into owning a piece of equipment. And you really need to understand that and put that in. We're not going to get into that debate today, but I personally like to put it in my estimates to be able to charge every customer for those pieces of equipment. But we're not going to get into that debate today. The next number you really need to start looking at, and this is one that can really, really hurt you if you don't understand it, and that's understanding your overhead and creating an overhead budget. Now, I know people get scared when they hear the word budget and they're like, I don't have time for that. I don't want to mess with that. But understanding your overhead budget is so, so important. And this is where a lot of people, when, you look like you're making a profit every single job, but coming at the end of the year, you don't have any money in the bank. It could be you're not charging enough to recover all your overhead. So you're not making any money because it's all going to, pay for that overhead. And typically what we see, and this is just kind of a general overview, most landscape businesses don't make what I call a true profit till the end of, towards the end of the fall and into the beginning of winter. We spend most of this time just paying off our overhead throughout the whole season. And then after that, that's when we start making a true profit. So understanding what your overhead really costs you. And then you can start really diving down and breaking down and developing these numbers and putting them into estimates. And that's where people say, especially like on our landscape business owners Facebook group, people ask, what do I need to charge for this? And everybody answers, well, you need to know your numbers. Well, those are some of the key numbers that you really need to start looking at and understanding what you need to do to put an estimate. Now, anybody and most people should be able to just pretty much look and to, figure out the materials. That's kind of the easy part. but understanding, all these other back end numbers and how long it takes to actually produce that job in man hours or production hours, that can really, that does take some time, take some skills to develop. Hey, Carla, appreciate you being on here. But it's so important to really start diving in these numbers. And again, don't get scared off by this. As we say, actually on this side here, we say do it dirty. So start looking at some of these numbers. And if you're not sure even where to begin, if you print off one of those P&L statements and balance sheets and you're looking at like, it's like Chinese to me, I don't understand it. Talk to your CPA, talk to somebody, reach out and find out more information on these numbers. You probably have a CPA that's helping you out at some point. Ask them, spend an hour or two with them and start learning how to read these P&Ls and how to understand and how they should be laid out. And that's one thing we do see in our landscape business. Our academy is the numbers are not always right in some of these ways some of these accounting firms set things up. So make sure you look at these numbers and understand what everything is and have them explain it to you. That's one thing I will say. So like I said, those three big numbers you really need to start understanding is labor and labor. And you need to understand your equipment costs and you need to understand your overhead. Now, if you guys really need help with this and don't understand this, I want you to understand, don't get freaked out about it. A lot of people start seeing these things and hearing these things and just, they don't understand it. It's very difficult to them. Don't be afraid of it. Start asking to help, find out a little bit more about it. And you can really start, once you start learning these numbers, you can really start making a profit because you know exactly what to charge. It goes into a lot of other things. We can start, being more confident in what you have to charge because your bottom dollar once you understand all these numbers. So we're not going to get into that today. That's will be another topic. But again, start learning these numbers, start understanding them. If you're not sure where to begin, let us know. We can help you inside our $1 Million Academy. We do teach this. We teach all these things. We have our calculators in there that already help you figure all this stuff out. And even if you use another software, you use, some of the bigger name software out there to help you figure this stuff out, you have to understand what numbers need to go into that. So, the overhead, if you're not sure what numbers need to go into that and you're putting it in, as one of the members in our academy has said before, garbage in, you get garbage out. So which meaning you're putting bad numbers into this accounting system or those estimating systems, you're going to get bad estimates out. So make sure you understand what needs to go into it. And like I said, if you need help with this, check out our $1 Million Academy. We can help you guys out. All right, guys, hope you're having a great day and we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.